Hello everyone. Welcome to Evolution Network. I'm David Mudrick. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about meditation. I know probably some of you have heard of it, maybe some of you practice it, but I thought I'd just give you kind of a history of my meditation and how I started it and what I think about it and what I do today. So probably about 4 years ago, I didn't really know what meditation was. I was reading an article in a business magazine on hedge fund manager Ray Dalio, and he had mentioned in that article that he did TM meditation every day and that really helped him in his life and helped him in his hectic days running his business. So that got me curious, and I looked it up, and TM, Transcendental Meditation, had a website, so I went there. They had a bunch of famous people, Hollywood people, who were giving endorsements on it, and they had a bunch of studies that were showing how it would decrease your blood pressure, your cholesterol, just a whole bunch of scientific studies they had done that actually showed that it was very positive on your health. So I decided to take the course. It was, I believe it was like a 4 or 5 day course. It wasn't all day, it was just evenings, like maybe 3 hours in the evenings. And it was fairly expensive. It was like an $800 course. That cost does include the training, and then you can attend sessions at with any of their people around the world, like a lifetime kind of support. If you have questions, if you want to take a refresher course, or just do kind of what they call like a checkup. So anyways, the first 3 days were probably just more introduction, kind of watching some videos of the founder, who was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi from India. And he kind of gained his fame back in the 60s because the Beatles went over and trained with him and learned transcendental meditation. And his background is interesting. He was actually an engineer and was curious about the monks and the monasteries and their meditation practices, and he studied with them and tried to figure out, what they were doing and how it was benefiting them, and he decided to take that practice to the rest of the world and teach people all around the world to be trainers. And the instructors that I was taking the class from were actually trained by him back in the 60s. So I think it was like on the 4th day, they had like a little ceremony. It was just individual at that time with you and the instructor, and he kind of led you through the practice of mantra. He gave you a mantra, and you would say it out loud, and then you would say it softer and softer until you weren't really saying it. It was just a thought in your head. And that took me to a place of real quiet, when you focus on that mantra, you can't really think about your regular problems and what you have to do next and your fears or your anxieties, or you just kind of focus on those words, and it kind of shuts the conscious mind down and takes you to a real quiet kind of a place. So I think I was probably in that meditation for maybe like 10 minutes or something before he started talking and kind of brought me back out. And in coming out, it felt really good. I mean, it felt really calm, felt really relaxed. I didn't have all these thoughts racing through my mind. So, immediately I was like, wow, this really works. And it was really kind of easy. It almost seemed kind of silly that you were actually paying somebody to flip this switch off to get you to just not think. But I don't know, at least for me, I didn't know where that switch was. If people said, well, don't worry about stuff or don't be all stressed about things, I didn't really know how to do that. I just had thoughts racing through my head 24/7, worrying about things at work or personal things or things I had to do, or it seems like it was very hard to even think straight at sometimes with your mind just racing all the time. So anyways, I did this for at least a year and a half, probably twice a day, 20 minutes a day. It was very positive. It was a very good thing. And then, unfortunately, I think over time I slowed down on the practice. I was doing it once a day, and then probably maybe a year later, a year and a half later, I was only doing it maybe 2, 3 times a week. And that was a big mistake looking back, because as your life gets more hectic and you have more problems and you have more things to take care of, it seems like you put it off. You're like, well, I don't have time for that today. And it's easy to go back to the state that you were in, where you're just overwhelmed all the time. And you kind of, I don't know, it's your mind working against you almost, telling you, well, you don't need to do that today. You've got other more important things. And looking back, that was an extremely important thing. Like, I would not go back to that again. I do 2 meditations a day, at least 2. And if I'm under a lot of stress, a lot of problems, I actually will try to do longer sessions. Instead of 15 minutes or 20, I'll try to do a half hour. And it clears your mind. You're able to think better. I think my opinion of what's happening is it's almost a state of self-hypnosis. Normally when you're awake, you're in alpha and beta brain waves. Your conscious mind is, your rational mind, your logical mind, you're thinking about things, analyzing things. And then when you get past that, the second level down is you're in theta brain waves. And that would be, everybody's probably experienced this, but if you pay attention when you're falling asleep, there's this place where your mind and body are starting to shut down, but you're still conscious. And that's when you're in actually theta brain waves. It's a direct connection to your subconscious mind. And it's that little place before you go completely asleep, or you're maybe going into delta brain waves, where you're pretty much everything shutting down. So meditation seems to be keeping you in that little place of theta brain waves, where you have a direct connection to your subconscious. So you can do several things there. I mean, you can just quiet your mind and do nothing, and it's sort of like waking up in the morning, where you kind of have a fresh mind, and a lot of your insights and problem solving comes from that early morning first half hour that you're awake before you've kind of hit with all the challenges of the day, where they kind of take over. There's hundreds of different kinds of meditation. There's a really good book called Practical Meditation. I do meditation, which is some sounds that you make while you're meditating. I do the mantras at least once a day. But there's all kinds of other meditations, walking meditations. There's thousands of different guided meditations on YouTube. If you've got something you want to work on in particular, you've got some kind of fears from your past, you've got some kind of an anxiety, if you just type in fear meditation, something will come up, and there might be a 15 or 20 minute meditation that it talks to you the whole time, it guides you through. I think those are very easy for beginners especially, and I kind of like them because when you're listening to somebody, it's easier. You just kind of do what they say, and it's easier to kind of go where they take you. And like I say, I think it's kind of a state of self-hypnosis. So they're kind of guiding you through some resolutions to your problems while you're in this state. And it goes right into your subconscious, and it's actually changing your brain thoughts, your brain patterns, and when you come out of it, you're sometimes the fears and things that you had, you see them differently. You're kind of overwriting maybe the emotions that you have connected with events, like in your subconscious. The other one I do is it's a mantra meditation, but I learned it from a Buddhist monk at a conference. If you go to some of these conferences, there's just people there who do different kinds of practices. I mean, you sit down and they teach you a mantra. They tell you the story behind it, that it's been used for, the one I'm doing has been used for like 5,000 years, back through India. There's like an unbroken chain of lineage of Grand Master monks who have used this, and they've taught it to their students, and then their students teach it to others. So there's kind of like a history behind it, and and they say that it's more powerful because there's a connection to all these people that are doing it around the world and who have done it for 5,000 years. So there's a lot of those types. I really like that one a lot. So anyways, I hope this helps you, and if you're curious, I will leave some links in the description, and there'll be some YouTube videos. I'll leave you a description to the book, the Practical Meditation Guide. And if you have any questions, if you want to talk to me further about anything, about this or anything else, there's a link in the description for the episode where you can give me your email address and sign up for a 20-minute coaching call. It's free, and I'll talk to you about meditation or anything else you want to talk about. So thanks for listening. Bye.